What if we told you Steve Dinan's latest BMW is almost a Porsche GT3 RS minus the aero for half the cash? Yeah, that's right. Real drivers will want one. What's in a name? A lot. Let's clear the elephant out of the room. Legendary BMW tuner Steve Dinan sold the rights to his company, Dinan Engineering, to drive performance brands in 2013. Dinan subsequently left the company in 2015. Around that time, he founded CarBahn, an oddly named but quite excellent German car tuning company, specializing in BMWs, Audis, and Mercedes MGS. But because we're talking Steve Dinan here, BMW is CarBahn's real area of expertise. Which brings us nicely to the focus of this first test, the heavily tuned by CarBahn BMW M4 competition xDrive. What is it? CarBahn calls its G82 M4 mods its signature package, and it retails for $20,599. There are some more CarBahn options on this particular test car that add another $9,000 to the price. In addition to our M4 competition xDrive test car's $89,475 base price, which ballooned to $98,145 as equipped. 2025 pricing is $97,450 to start and $111,175 as optioned. You'll pay just over $140,000 to replicate this car. Cheap? Nope. But there's some real value here. Let's start with the engine. The S58 3.0-liter twin-turbo i6 is already legendary for being severely underrated fresh from the factory. BMW claims 503 horsepower in M4 competition tune, but dozens of easily Googled dyno charts reveal the peak power is closer to 550 horsepower. The torque number seems to be accurate. BMW states the engine makes 479 lb-ft of twisting force. CarBahn merely laughs at BMW's dingolfing factory, as its version produces 735 horsepower and 668 lb-ft. This is CarBahn Stage 2 tune, which includes new engine software, a heat exchanger, aka intercooler, a new exhaust system, and a cold air intake. Next comes the significantly reworked suspension. All four corners get new coilover dampers and anti-roll bars, while the front end gets monoball bushings and the rear gets new toe links. There's also a new carbon fiber strut tower brace, and CarBahn tosses in some steel brake lines with this package for good measure. The signature package also includes several, too many, carbon fiber pieces, which include the new front grille, a replacement engine cover, brake duct splitter, flicks, fender vents, side sills, and a rear spoiler. The additional options on this car include wheels, titanium exhaust, and a 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty. What's it like to drive? The CarBahn BMW M4 competition is a bit extreme around town. The Motorsports Arrive suspension is the classic Dinan setup of soft springs with rock-hard damping. The result feels like a soft couch that's in a garbage truck. The car is quite smooth until it totally isn't. The crazy wide 295 with front tires tramline all over the place, even though the new front bushings are supposed to prevent this. We also noticed CarBahn has the M4 on Porsche spec NO rated. Michelin Cup 2 are tires, which we don't think are included in the price. Regardless, the car's a handful, especially when you get what feels like torque steer under seemingly normal acceleration. However, all of this changes once you get off city streets and head up into the hills or to a test track. We'll quote our testing director, Chris Walton, at length here. "My goodness, I hated this car on the road, tire rub on steering lock, crap ride, tram lining, bushing clacks. But boy does it work here on the figure 8 testing course." My first impression is that this doesn't drive like any BMW I've ever tested. Driven in anger, it's more like a Porsche. The harder you push it, the better it gets. It's remarkably forgiving, balanced front to rear, and so confidence-inspiring that you can forget about needing to gather it up and instead focus on honing the techniques to make it go faster. Dynamite brakes with little/no ABS intrusion, so that trailing into a corner is easy and repeatable. The lateral grip is astounding, and I'm glad for these high-dollar seats. Neither the car's front nor rear threatens to let go. Eventually, there's mild understeer at the end of the skid pad, which works out just perfectly since that's when you can stand on the throttle and rotate it on the power with the AWD keeping things tidy. Just a bit of a wag/slide, and nothing lurid or spooky at all. It's all so well controlled. I expected it to be quicker across the middle of the figure 8 in a straight line, but it managed to go 83 to 84 miles per hour. This is a track car that came with some amount of learned setup, and it really works. Two things. First, there's no bushing clack. That sound turned out to be the engine cover banging against the strut brace. Second, as good as the CarBahn BMW M4 competition was around our figure 8 course, it might be even better as a canyon carver. And I'm sure it would be hell on rails around a road course. We lost track of the number of times we saw triple-digit speeds up our favorite canyon road. 3 to 5 times means you're in a powerful car. More than 10? Something quite different. Something potent. But not just potent, more like the CarBahn M4 comp enjoys going fast. Straights, corners, big turns, little ones. Whatever, velocity is its métier. This car craves speed, which is good, as otherwise the motorsport suspension would just be annoying. Also, the brakes are magnificent. Can you quantify this praise? Yes, and glad you asked. Okay, a regular BMW M3 competition xDrive hit 60 miles per hour in 3.0 seconds in our previous test of it. A totally ridiculous number, and no, somehow we never tested the 2-door version, just a 4-door M4. The CarBahn M4 does it in 2.9 seconds. The M3 comp runs a quarter mile in 11.1 at 124.7 miles per hour. The CarBahn version, 11.0 seconds at 126.1 miles per hour. This again goes to show how criminally underrated the S58 motor is. Also, it's difficult to explain to the layperson just how ferocious a stock M3/M4 competition is. Well, like, it's nuts. Driving hard up in the hills above Los Angeles, 2 vehicles kept popping into our minds. The 992.1 Porsche GT3 RS and Reese Millen's Bentley GT3 Pikes Peak car we were lucky enough to drive. We don't have any test numbers on the Bentley, but the GT3 RS hits 60 miles per hour in 2.8 seconds. A regular GT3 with PDK takes 2.7 ticks and smashes through the quarter in 10.9 seconds at 126.8 miles per hour, meaning the CarBahn BMW M4 nips at its heels. Oh, and if you could rip out the CarBahn M4's back seat, just to generally lighten it up, it would be right there. The GT3 RS weighs 3,220 pounds. The CarBahn M4 clocks in at a porky 3,956. If we may, we'd love to see Steve Dinan go nuts on a rear-drive M4 competition, as yes, sure, the xDrive version is quicker, but the RWD M3/M4 comps are so much sweeter to drive. Plus, it's about 150 pounds lighter. The resulting car would be slower in a straight line than what CarBahn has built. But who cares? We do care about handling, and this is where the CarBahn M4 comes alive. On the skid pad, it averaged 1.16 G. On our figure-8 course, the stock M3 comp laid down a very respectable 23.3 second lap. Anything in the 23-second range is serious sports car territory. The CarBahn version is a full second quicker at 22.3, which is supercar territory. A regular Porsche 911 GT3 does it in an identical 22.3 seconds and weighs almost 800 pounds less. That GT3 RS on the same no-spec tires, it did it in 21.9 seconds. One of the quickest vehicles we've ever tested, and with a 0.97 G average. This M4, while a bit slower, averaged 99 centimos. To reinforce how good the CarBahn is, a Chevy Corvette Z06 with the Z07 track package covered the figure-8 track in 21.9 seconds at an average of 99 centimos, changed the Z06 to its street alignment, and its figure-8 numbers are inferior to the CarBahn M4, 22.7 seconds at 93 centimos. Do you get the sort of rarefied air the CarBahn M4 breathes in? Of course, it doesn't have anywhere near the aerodynamic downforce of the 911 GT3 RS at high speed on a racetrack, but when it comes to mechanical grip, the thing you rely on mostly during twisty road attacks, it's solidly in the game. Stop! Finally, the brakes. We stopped the CarBahn BMW M4 from 60 miles per hour in 89 feet. The GT3 needs 93 feet, the GT3 RS 92 feet, and the Z06 97 feet. A stock M3 comp? How about 105 feet? The CarBahn's brakes are seriously incredible, and because a performance car is only as good as its brakes, well, this thing rocks. Yes, CarBahn's BMW M4 competition beats you up as a daily driver, and it makes some odd sounds. Yes, despite the near total rhinoplasty up front, it still looks odd. But as far as performance goes, the CarBahn M4 xDrive is a deal, even at $140,000. Have you priced out GT3s lately? Are GT2 RS still selling for $100,000 more than sticker? Or are they back down to the normal $241,300 starting price? Hats off to Steve Dinan and the CarBahn team. They built something quite special here.